Hey, Mike. Just want to say thank you for all the years.
Thank you.
The first year that you and Dog were on, I actually was caught in a snowstorm. It took me 6 hours to get home, and I listened to you guys for the first time, and I was hooked.
Well, thank you.
I'm following up on the Mike Krzyzewski interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to tell you, to me, because I spent a lot of time in the car, and over the years, there was Tim Russert, there was Don Imus, and there's Mike Francesa in the sports world, that your interviewing skills are fantastic, and you made it conversational because of your knowledge, and I just wanted to tell you that as a fan, I really enjoyed all those interviews over the years. They were top-notch.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I think Imus was an excellent interviewer, always was. Tim Russert obviously was a major talent, but Imus was always a very good interviewer. I don't think there's any question. Very conversational, always an extremely good interviewer. So I take that as a very much a compliment. One thing I wanted to mention, Andy Reid suspended, and rightly so, Marcus Peters. Absolutely. Marcus Peters was a clown last week at that game. I credit Andy with that. Andy's got to watch it. His team is completely falling apart on defense, and he had to pull Revis out of the game. He was so bad last week. So Revis was not ready to play. I mean, that's all there was to it. Listen, he's no longer Revis. He's no longer that kind of talent. We know that. But, boy, he did not look good. Mike and Tom's River, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, what's happening?
I just want to say thank you for all your time. I just had a quick thing about Ohtani, but before I got to that, I wanted to know, are you a Team Portnoy guy? Any chance you want to, join Barstool Radio? I think you make a great fit.
I don't. You see, I think that. Listen, I like the Barstool guys. They've created a lot of T-shirts about me, which have all been well done. They just created another one this past week.
They got the Sirius channel now.
So but I don't. You know what? I think that my day of being part of that group is past. I think that it's for somebody else. I think that, first of all, I don't think they need me. They have their own group. They have their own traveling troupe. They know what they're doing. And again, I just think that that my day of doing something like that with that kind of ensemble is gone. It just is. But I think those guys have done a good job. Their characters, I get a kick out of them. And again, listen, they're not for 10-year-olds. Okay, they're going to be a little edgy. So you got to already understand the world before you're going to be you got to be 17, 18 years old before you're going to be involved with them. So you can't be 10 or 12 listening to them, because they're going to be a little edgy about what they do. I mean, they're going to combine some of the stuff with that. So, but they're characters, they are. And they've always been big supporters of the show. Gary in Jersey, what's up, Gary?
I'm so better about the Eli streak, because even though he's going to be starting this week, the streak is over. And as far as John Mara being sympathetic or whatever, I think he's just being a politician, and he was a fraud, because he knows he wants to save his business because the fans were still so upset. So now he's going to, he fired the coach and GM.
Listen, I don't think. Listen, the streak's over, Gary, and we'll live by it. It's not the end of the world. The streak was very impressive. It's over. So it was a casualty. Could have been handled differently. It wasn't. And now Eli can start a new streak. Greg in Long Island, what's up, Greg? We'll have Brian Cashman in the next 10 minutes. Go ahead. What's up?
Hey, Mike, what's up? I got a couple of things. Mike, Mulcahy's, me and my sons are going to go see you on Sunday. Are you going to be there for a little while afterwards?
I am going to, in a very orderly fashion, we're going to line up anybody who wants autographs or photos. I will be there from 11:30 until the line ends, and no matter how long it is, I will be there till it ends, okay? And they will line everybody up at 11:30. Anybody who wants photos, autographs, I will sign them. I will take the pictures. I will do that at 11:30, I promise, for anybody who wants them. And I will stay until it's over. Hopefully we finish by 1 so we can all watch football, but if it's a couple minutes after that, so be it. So I will be there. Vin in Long Island, what's up, Vin?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
What's happening?
So I have a proposition for you here. Eli Manning retires next year and becomes head coach of the New York Giants.
No, that's silly. That's silly. He's not Eli's going to play for a couple more years, and he's not ready to be the head coach of the Giants. Ike in Brooklyn, what's up, Ike?
Mike, how you doing?
Good. What's happening?
It's a pleasure, Mike. This is probably our last call. You know, I always enjoyed the calls.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a call from a friend that says, when you call me, Mike, I want to listen and be your last call. So
okay.
This is it.
If this is it, thank you, Ike. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, one thing you mentioned yesterday, the waning or the supposed waning of the NFL popularity. And let me just say something. I was in Florida this past weekend, big Dolphin fan, went to the game with my daughter, and, you know, nothing really even beats the in-game excitement. And forget about watching on TV. It's such a great TV sport. Football's not going anywhere. You know, you walk through the parking lots and the parties and the tailgating and the game atmosphere. It's one of a kind.
That's great. And listen, I totally agree. Listen, no one's singing football's demise here, but football's got to get out of its own way here. You know, their ratings aren't down 2%. Their ratings are down 15, 19%. They got to get out of their own way here. I mean, it's more than a little, but it's not. Again, they're way ahead of everybody else. Way ahead. Just remember that. Mark in Belmore, what's up, Mark?
Hey, Mike, what's happening?
What's happening?
Good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you.
I wish I had $1 for every time I called the show.
Okay.
But, anyway, with the Aaron Boone hiring, you know, I keep hearing a lot of the GMs saying, oh, this one's a great communicator, that one's a great communicator. I don't know if I'm wrong here, but I'm reading between the lines. In other words, they want a manager who's going to communicate what the front office wants with no pushback whatsoever.
Bingo. They want two things, and they want to act like you're going to be better. All I keep hearing from these new managers, they're going to be best friends with the players. You know what? There's no more disciplined players anymore at all. I mean, that's what you know. I hear about it is, you know, we're going to get along great. We're going to go. You know, and not every manager got along great with every player. He doesn't have to get along great with any player.
And that doesn't make you a bad manager. Like a good manager is obviously going to be judged by his wins and losses and being best friends with everybody and being able to just this whole great communicator. And the other word they use a million times is collaborative.
Oh, you know what collaborative means? His front office tells you what to do. That's what collaborative means.
Exactly. And
yes.
I keep hearing that over and over. Communicator and collaborative.
Yeah, and listen, they are trying to diminish the role, and they're not trying, they are succeeding in diminishing the role of the manager. That's what they're doing. They are clearly doing that. The idea of the novice manager or the inexperienced manager works because they are diminishing the role of the manager. The days of the Buck Showalter, you know, Mike Socia manager are going to go by the boards. And listen, you always had to get along with enough of your players, and the old adage was keep the 5 who hate you away from the 5 who love you, and the other 15 are in the middle. All right, that's fine. That's human nature. You'd be that way with any 25 men you tried to, whatever the business was, whether you're selling widgets or you're trying to knock in runs. You'd have the same dynamics out of 25 guys. You'd have trouble with 5 would love you. The other 15 are going to be somewhere in the middle. I mean, that is group dynamics. Mark in North Brunswick. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Mike, isn't it ironic that you're leaving the air and the Yankees and the Giants are falling apart?
Well, I don't know that the Yankees aren't falling apart. Heck, they were one game from the World Series this year.
I know. I wouldn't. So if I don't talk to you, have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year.
Thank you. You too. You too. We have time to tell everybody that. I have time to tell everybody that. I still have 8 shows to go. So we have time for the goodbyes. And we'll do a lot of that the last day. Last day, we're going to get a lot of calls in. You know, I would think. We might set a record that day. We might get a lot of calls in. I would expect. Leo in the Bronx. What's up, Leo?
Hey, Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Good. What's happening?
Why is there a lot of fans there crying about Eli's streak? I mean, it's just a streak. He just starts and that's it. I mean, if he doesn't play as well he's supposed to play, I mean,
Well, wait a second. If it was so ordinary, how come it's the second longest in history?
But it's what? So you just come just to show up and that's it? That's a streak?
Wait, so you mean he didn't play well? He didn't win any games? He didn't do anything?
Yeah, he hasn't been playing good. I mean, 113 yards against Washington that doesn't have any 29 players injured. What does that mean?
Well, that's the reason why he didn't have anybody playing that day. I mean, it would help if he had some guys there. He had one receiver play, and the receiver dropped every ball he had near him, which was the tight end. He's the only guy who was a decent player that day was there, and he dropped every ball in sight. So, I mean, I don't understand that call about Eli. You're saying Eli hasn't contributed to the team? I mean, that can't be your premise. I don't think, anyway. Doug in Babylon, what's up, Doug?
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good, what's happening?
Not much. Hey, Mike, thanks for the years. Very entertaining. Enjoyed it a lot. Went to the Villanova basketball game last night.
Right.
They beat up Gonzaga pretty good.
Right.
I think Villanova is going to have a real good team this year. I know you mentioned two.
Villanova has a top 10 team without any question.
Yeah.
They could be a top 5 team. No question.
I think they were challenged last night for the first time this season, and I think they handled it very well. But why I called is the halftime. They did a nice tribute to Jimmy Valvano,
right.
And I'm just wondering, did you have any contact with him or
knew him very well?
What kind of guy he was?
If you've seen him on TV, that's what he was. He was a character. He was a comedian. He was a personality. He was just a storyteller. He was just a very much a character. And, he was a very emotional coach, a very much a seat-of-the-pants coach. I knew Jim Valvano. I knew him before he was famous. I knew him before he went to NC State. I knew him when he was a guy just starting out as a coach. I walked to the Final Four building with him when he was very sick and talked the whole way. When he knew he was, he knew he was dying. I didn't know he was dying at the time. He knew he was dying at the time. I knew he was sick. And it was amazing how good of spirits he was in, considering. His passing and the way they've handled that with the money they've raised, they've done a great job raising a lot of money for it. And so that's a great legacy to him. And he really was he had a lot of issues late in his coaching career because he let things get away from him, because he loved, and he was a brilliant analyst. A brilliant broadcaster. He could have been maybe as good at that as anybody ever has been. That's how good he was. And the coaching thing had kind of spun out of control for him because he had gotten into trouble at NC State. He'd kind of let the program go away. Like, there were days, and I don't think this is telling tales out of school. We'd go there to do a game, and most of the time you go there and you get there on a Friday morning, you got a Saturday game, and you're there when the coach takes you through Friday practice, and the coach will meet with you and do everything. Jimmy would be out of town doing an appearance and wouldn't even be at practice on Friday. He'd show up for the game on Saturday. His assistants had run practice on Friday. He had so many things going on. He was like a whirlwind. So, he had gotten that big. So he'd be doing an appearance here. He'd be out of town here. He'd be doing that. It kind of caught up with him. It really did. He got too big. So, but he understood that. He was a really interesting guy. He was. And a character. And great after dinner speaker. Funny as heck. There's some really good coaches as after dinner speaker. Lou Holtz, if you've ever heard him, is a great after dinner speaker. Really, he's got a great act. He's really funny. He's got, and if you meet Lou himself, he doesn't come off that funny or that sweet. He comes off a little rough. You see him have to talk on TV, or if you ever saw someone like Johnny Carson, and he used to go on Johnny Carson years ago and do magic acts and all this. Lou was a terrific after dinner speaker. Valvano was a good one. Al McGuire was a character after dinner speaker. There's a lot of those guys were very, very good at that. But he was one of the better ones. He was a good storyteller. And funny, just funny. 1:55. When we come back, we should have the general manager of the Yankees.